Lama Jeno, Lama Jeno, Chenshin Zhe, Lama Jeno, Wane Lama Guizhen, Wadu Dao, Gejian, Yen Zu Jian, Dewe, Dewan, Dambe Lam Dao, Tu Jian, Ane, Jewe, Jazan, Gu Jian, Dana, Dama Da. Doje Chawan, Gobo, Zhe, Wang, Bongar, Jian, Do Jian, Chang, Qian, Bo, Jian, Na, So, Wan, De, Zo, Tu Jian, So, Jian, Sen, Jian, Lo, Jian, Gu, Zhu, Na, Jian, Da, Da, Zu, Shi. Den Yi, Len, Den, De, Wo, Zu, Jie, Namo, Na, Zhe, Na, Da, Ge, Lama, Na, Na, Zhe, Xi, Xi, Zu, Jian, Bo, 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 Zu, Yu, Zhu, De, So, Wan, De, Wo, Dong, Zhu, Zu, Sen, Jian. 你现在我做个节马上见面，加入同前辈一线阿达的这个单你个天见，多我见这中国见到是你见俺的说我的军见见俺的是你老生都的见面呐，龙的去过到不了先界喽，那我的年辈生见他见老去从多不了先界老的说去那么多不了先界老的说那就把手不了先界。出那一些人叫我先界老的说，我在啥家先过去的。我这头把它先接拉倒说，这我们都样子，那么咱这没去接不了，这说的弄清，对了，弄的都是在讲究，光管这都是讲究什么的不去，马街把那么去把年把面把阳光的光都陪我修。Okay, now welcome everyone. Why not we take some opportunity to discuss, continue, right? Even though few of us together continue. We were in verses 7, I believe so. Okay. Okay. Ngari longjong kordang sonam tang. Nyembe damjen zamling kangjuri chan. Rani chitse pemba jikjami. Dubla zumba. Kowe nyeng dam yin.
To have subordinates, wealth, a retinue, good fortune, and fame spreading through the whole world. At the time of death, all this is of no benefit. To be diligent in one's practice is my hard advice.
Okay. So now I can so I can share my thoughts first, few words about this one. Okay. And that's the uh, it's general speaking. Uh, wealth, uh, and fames, uh, retinues, this, uh, followers. It's an ordinary life. That's okay. That's the way it is, actually. Your desire, of course. Without, as ordinary person, without the wealth, we cannot survive, actually. We need it. Place to eat, place to stay, or eat for food, to wear the clothing, and so on, and so on, which is human nature, in order to survive as every living beings. Without, it's very difficult in the life. But sometimes, some cases in the life, if it is too much, everything, including wealth, including fame, reputation, all is working for that, fame and reputations, wealth, the monies, things like that. That is, from my point of view, my experience in the life, doesn't make so much sense there. So putting everything's energy there for a whole life. At the end, as mentioned here, there's no one has power to carry with us. Everyone has to leave behind. There's no one at all. None of them, even the smallest one. No one can carry about. But that does not mean we don't need it. We don't have to have, as ordinary life. As a real practitioners, as a true practitioners, like we call, like an example for monks, nuns, right? For their renunciation. And their case, point, and it is very, very real practitioner point of view. It is very obstacle. It is one of the most obstacle. Always worry about the wealth, fame, reputations, the students, how many I can collect it, my students, hundreds and hundreds, thousands and thousands, don't worry about them at all, always. So there's no real Dharma, actually. There's no real understanding of Dharmas. So therefore, what this Longchenpa talking about here is the true, very important to think sometimes, nature of impermanence. At the same time, in our ordinary life, saving is important, but sometimes the saving always saving after saving, and then we don't have using for ourselves, not using for our friends and family or society, and that doesn't make sense either. For what? Then the reason for what? Even though could not having nice clothing oneself, nice food today, those are important. It doesn't seem, but it is important, really. But sometimes it's so, how to say, the strangeness, so much. Everything's, either we're using not for self, either we're not for other people, so there is a kind of balance. There is needed kind of, as a Thich Nhat Hanh's talk about highly practice of mindfulness. I think so. That's very, very important. So therefore, it is true here. The truth is, then when the life, the end of the life, there's nothing can be benefit. Nothing can be carried with us at all. That's very clear. Nothing actually. Nothing at all. Doesn't matter the wealth. So sometimes as a thinking about why are we doing those things? Why we have to do this? But we have to, in ordinary in a society, we need it some level. As a practitioner myself, as thinking about the real practitioner, it's also I'm not totally realizing, but I'm really aware about that very much. Sometimes as myself as a teacher, the worry about the student, how to collect students, how to be kind of whatever technique to use, whatever. I'm not doing it at all anymore. I've been some level that aspiration and that level, but no more, that does not mean I have to continue to share teachings. That's very important, the wisdom to whatever. That's very important. The rest of them is not so, uh, uh, so therefore, uh, Longchenpa saying it's everyday practice, uh, practice is very important actually, especially for our self practice, it's so important. Without the self practice, there's no way to understand the real Dharma. We have to have which we call the personal practice, Somebody meditate every day, 10, 15 minutes, or somebody meditate reciting mantra or whatever practices. Somebody practice to read, study for every day for 1 hour, something like that. Whatever it is. That's very important. Here I also mentioned that's also really, really, really. I noticed that myself too, as a teacher, to teach other. In order to teach other, you have to have a practice for self. Really, anything. Without it doesn't work that way. Doesn't much work. So let me stop here. What is the point is you're talking about here is actually the impermanence, nature, Oh, so the point is here the practice every day, the balance, Oh, it is very important to have benefit for self, a benefit for others at the same times, Oh, so that's uh, which is my understanding here talking about, these chapters. Then, of course, there are another point. Maybe I'd like to hear from anybody else start.
John or Darcy, do you have any questions or comments?
You're muted, John.
John, I think you're still unmuted. Muted.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All righty. Huey, Darcy and I've been on vacation. That's why we haven't been in a while. So we just got back and it's good to see everybody again. So
All I have to say about that particular verse is I know that it is important. I believe that it is important to have a positive, clear mind at death and to practice, I think it would really help that clarity and the way in which you pass. And I've always known that nothing that we have materially is going to matter at the time of death. We're going to be alone and nothing else matters. I mean, when you die, you have nothing, but you do have your state of mind. And I think that it's important to have the practice as support. Because many people fear death. And this Buddhism is one of I don't know of any other practice that studies death. Another one of the things that attracted me to Buddhism to begin with is that study. The Tibetan Book of the Dead is profound. And so, yes, this one is really important to have the practice at your time of passing. You really don't have anything else. That's all I wanted to say. And it's good to see you all.
Good to see you too, Darcy.
Thanks, Darcy. John, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, what I've gained through the practice, I've met very few people outside the practice that don't have the fear that most people do over death. I have no fear of it. And two friends of mine, they were customers of mine years ago and turned out to be great friends. They've both passed away. And one of them was from cancer. And she was very gracious. The end, I've never seen anybody face death that way. Like every day was like the last day. She just kept doing what she had always done before. And it was a really, it was sad to see her go, but the way she went, uh, it she didn't suffer too much. Think she had maybe a stroke or a blood clot at the end. It was pretty quick, but to watch her in her final days, and it was like nothing. It wasn't any different from before she was diagnosed. To see that, and that is rare. That is rare. Mhm.
Well, it makes me think, mentioning this time of death, it's kind of hidden from us, in modern culture, and we're so distracted by, like the stanzas say, the busyness of gain and fame and so on, and accumulating experiences and material possessions. And I was fortunate enough to my grandmother on my father's side, I was able to attend her funeral, her viewing. She was Catholic, and so she was, her body was right there in the chapel, and I just experienced, the love and kind of energy of her, as Darcy was saying, kind of state of mind, and her love, for life, and I guess just, her beliefs, and it changed as soon as, my dad's side of the family is not as close. They were spread out around the country, and everyone has their own different kind of faith perspective, and we all came into that room with a little anxiety and awkwardness initially, and we were just enveloped by this energy of my grandmother's spiritual kind of love, and I remember being like, wow, I didn't realize how spiritual she was. She was just my grandmother, and she never made much talk about it, but it was a lot different from other family members and people that I've been close to that were also wonderful people. But that gave me a sense, as you were saying, Darcy, that a lot of these things that we've learned from the lamas, to be able to actually experience or get a glimpse of that from someone was very inspiring. I mean, I still get inspired, and it gives me hope. Because I think it's hard to just pause from our worldly concerns for even 5 minutes, at least even for myself. So I'm very grateful for having a little sitting before we started the discussion. So thank you. And Katie, I wonder if you wanted to share, or if Lama had any other follow-ups. Really appreciate the opportunity.
guess I was just thinking about I've spent a lot of time in my life trying to be simple, just to try to get rid of things and, you know, lean in the direction of creating space for as much meditation practice as I can and all of that. And along that journey, things come up along the way. Sometimes we can kind of stray too far in one direction or another. So finding the balance is an interesting task. And one thing I think is true is that there's we don't one thing I'm learning is that there's no need to fear that we're gonna fall through any kind of crack in the universe as long as we are doing this out of faith in the Dharma. So uh, you know, continuing to have less, live simply, all of that, the Dharma shows up and doesn't let us, for me anyway, at this point, I haven't yet slept in a gutter, and these kinds of things, but at the same time, I've seen some instances of death that were really difficult, some that were less difficult. And the ones I saw that were less difficult were of the more spiritual type, I think. Folks who had really spent a lot of time engaging in the Dharma. So, yeah, that's a few of the thoughts that I'm having about this verse.
Well, for me, it's now the most important is we can make a plan for the future, so many things, which is nothing wrong with that. But the most important is the present moment, especially every day. As a human beings, we can expect our day is very wonderful day today. Everything is perfect. There's nothing wrong. But the truth is, it doesn't come that way, right? We all know that. It doesn't work like that. It depends on the cause and the conditions. Anytime comes up different things. Different conditions from outside, different conditions from inside ourselves. Then this kind of learning about a spiritual path, talking about this impermanence nature, nature of change. I think it's very, very wonderful thought. It's wonderful training ourselves if we understood that in a positive way. So then it helps me. My mind calms down and relax, have peace. That's why I'm looking about it. That is the I see as a spiritual path of practice or the training, way of thinking, positive way. It really, really helps. My mind gets immediately calmed down. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's nothing wrong. That just doesn't matter. Don't be kind of big deal with that. You know, just be relaxed, try to understanding the reality, nature. It does not mean we should not care about other living beings. It does not mean we should not have love, compassion, and so on. Yeah, we should have more, particularly for self. That's what I see is the nature of impermanence, you know, or the learning about it. Sometimes, and also I notice, if you do not understanding the impermanence nature of positive way, the reality nature, it can be sometimes make lots of misunderstanding in reality life. That is also possible. You know, it helps me is in my mind. Each time I realize, if I think impermanence, which I try to do, one of my prayers is there, but few seconds, which is so wonderful for me, whatever it is. If I can think a little more longer, but at least that prayer is my real practice prayer. It says the first, the precious life, and then the impermanence, and then about the karmas, which I try to recollect every time. Then one thing in my own experience, this in here, we every day have to walking towards to the teaching place is almost 45 minutes walking distance. On the way, there is one cemeteries. Sometimes when we see walking, there is a death bodies burning, sometimes not.
It's a cremation ground.
Cremation ground, like, you know. So it's very, I learn as a very good. It's not easy, the beginning, long time, but now I can easy to take it a very good lesson from there. It's nothing wrong. We have other side, this wonderful stupa, which is we call the monkey stupa, the Soyambo, very, very precious. Everybody praying, of course, which is we do as a religious and spiritual people. There's nothing wrong. Then when the other side, one side, right side is the stupa, and the left side is the cemetery, the cremation places. I don't know how people can understand it, you know, take it, understand it. For me, is the truth is sometimes I forgot the stupas, really. It reminds me that the cemeteries in the way that I pray with them. I just appreciate and not thankful for that. Oh, I thought myself. I'm not thinking about others. I'm thinking about myself. Oh, yeah. I'm the also one has to go through this one. Have to experience one day. Never know when it is. You know. At the same time, I'm really thinking about the people who died there and people who their families, the friends, how have to go through their challenges, difficulty, you know, it's well. So my practice was I just take, as it says in one of the Milareba's teaching, all the Gambupa's teaching, I remember it one time, it says, whenever you see the people of experience of death, you must bring into yourself, says, oh, I'm also one day has to be experience that one, you know. So that's much more not easy, but it is. And also I haven't seen in my lifetime the actual couple friends, but in my real life seen in my own dad pass away. And that was kind of course, not easy for the family, but it's still so not easy for him. And I seen in the past my lifetime people how they have to go through each steps taking the end of the last breathings, not easy. So it's a lot of, you know. But then at the best, I would say here, the spiritual teaching, it is marvelous, very wonderful thoughts, So I think so. That is, for me, is every day kind of try to meditate and practice, not just only that, the whole idea of the impermanence nature of everything, it is really, really helpful, actually. I'm talking too much. Time is over. Oh,
Dedication prayer?
4 more minutes.
Yeah, 4 minutes. Yeah.
So we don't
You're
have
never
to.
talking too much. We appreciate it.
We don't have to go today the teaching their classes. So that's why we can spend time with together here, which is so wonderful. As always, we have to rush. So I feel like sometimes not easy, but we have to go, because we have to reach there. So then the reason is many other reasons. You would like to take a taxi, or you have to pay other things, and then we have to go and need it our own walking experience,
To eat
the
breakfast.
exercise, breakfast, fast, so many other things. But that's a good one. That's okay. But we've been doing that. So we were in sick last week ago, so we have to take a taxi. No choice. So we can't walk. So now we're getting better. So we try to walk as possible every time. 45 at least,
Yeah.
So this opportunity, I noticed that. Okay. Thank you. Let's do the dedication.
Okay.
Just as the Bodhisattva Manjushri attained omniscience and Samantabhadra too, all these merits now I dedicate to train and follow in their footsteps. Jampa Pavo Jitai Kempa Dan Kundu Sangpo Deyang Dejinte Dedak Kungi Jesu Dak Lopche Gewa Dedak Tamche Ratungo. May I never in any lifetime be separate from the authentic Lama and always enjoy the splendor of the Dharma, perfecting the qualities of the paths and levels of realization. May I swiftly attain the state of Vajradhara. Kewa kundu yangdak lama dang drame shiki pala longchote sadang lamge yamtan razodne dorje chonge gopang nyer top sho. By the virtues collected in the 3 times, by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious enlightenment. Dakdang kode tamche ki dosum do shakpa dang yupe gewet sawadi dang samchen tamche nyadu lana me pa yang dak par dzokpe changchu rinpoche tokpar gyorchi. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. Chongchup Samjo Rinpoche Make Panam Gegyo Che Kepa Nyampa Mepa Yang Gongne Gongdo Pelwar Sho. For this realm, encircled by snow-covered mountains, you are the source of every benefit and bliss without exception. Tenzin Gyatso, you who are one with Avalokiteshvara, may you remain steadfast until samsara's end. Single source of benefit and happiness, may the teachings long remain, and may the lives of those who hold these teachings be stable like a victory banner. Tende jungwe ne chikbu, tenpa ring ne padam, tenpa jimpe kebu nam kutse gyatsen tengyo chi.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Richard.
Oh.
Apologize if I didn't communicate about the time zone changes.
Oh, sorry.
That's a mistake on my part. I think you did mention it last week. No worries.
Okay, well, thanks everybody. We'll see you next week. Karma willing and Lama willing and everything. Thank you, Lama and Katie and everyone.
Yeah, good to see you all. Take care.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye.